Now, News 4 Jax investigates poisoning patients for profit.
The latest now on a Detroit area cancer doctor who was sentenced to 45 years in prison. He gave his patients dangerous amounts of chemotherapy. Also, he could bill insurance and Medicare for millions of dollars. Channel 4 Stacey Spanos flew to Michigan to talk one-on-one with some of these victims. And Stacey, you learned a number of these patients didn't even have cancer.
No, Tom and Mary, this is literally like something that you'd see in a horror movie. Dr. Fareed Fata would tell perfectly healthy people they had cancer. And others who had cancer were given much more chemotherapy than they needed. I recently traveled to Detroit to get the full extent of the cruelty Fata's patients endured. These pictures show Robert Sobere in better days.
Just don't feel like getting out of bed. Can't get my thoughts straight or anything, so.
And this is Robert today. He's in constant pain.
I have no nerve endings on my legs from the knees down. My feet and legs hurt so bad all the time.
Robert was referred to Detroit area oncologist Dr. Fareed Fata in 2010 after some concerns by his primary care doctor. After a battery of tests, Fata told him he had cancer.
How devastated were you when you heard you had multiple myeloma?
Oh, I was just, my jaw dropped. My wife, I looked at my wife and she was starting to cry, and it just, you know, what do you say? You just, everything goes blank.
Fata told Robert he'd need chemotherapy once a month for the rest of his life. About a year into it, the chemo caused him to lose his first tooth.
It just broke off at the gum. And I'd asked him about it. My jaw was hurting all the time. And I kept asking him, he goes, oh, nothing I'm doing would cause that.
But experts testified during Fata's sentencing this month that one of the side effects of the chemo Robert was getting is softening of the jawbone. Robert had chemo for 2.5 years. He was down to 4 teeth when Fata's offices were raided in 2013. Soon after, Robert consulted with another oncologist who dropped a bomb on him.
But he says, just look at your records. He goes, here's a true copy of the biopsies that said there's nothing wrong with you.
What?
Yeah, nothing's wrong with me. He said, you don't even have MGUS. You have nothing wrong with you.
Unfortunately, Roberts is not the only horrifying story to come out of Fata's office. Prosecutors believe Fata mistreated 553 patients that they know of.
How dare you? How dare you compromise people's health for your benefit, for money?
Gregory Cad's mother and father were 2 of them. His father died. He says his mother nearly did because of the complications of too much chemo.
He is nothing but a monster. He is nothing but a greedy monster. He is beyond hate. Hate doesn't even begin to touch how I feel about Fareed Fata.
X-ray, lab reports, little book.
And Terry Spurlock really did have lymphoma, but he really didn't need the amount of chemotherapy and other treatments Fata prescribed for him. He grossly overtreated Spurlock, who got a 4-hour chemo infusion every 30 days. According to a passage he read from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Spurlock's treatments were supposed to last
2 years max, in parentheses.
Of chemotherapy treatment?
Of chemotherapy treatment.
And how long did you get chemotherapy treatment?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
What would you say to him if you could talk to him, if he was sitting right here?
I'd shoot him. If he was sitting right here, I'd shoot him.
You have that much anger towards him?
I do.
a lot of anger, as you can see. I asked Terry and Robert. They've been asked by many people, why didn't you get a second opinion? Part of the reason is they walked in, they saw all the awards on the wall, they knew of Fata's reputation and just put so much trust in him, and it's something, frankly, a lot of us do. They said, Tom and Mary, that they will never do that again, and they urge others to get second opinions always.
Always.
This is absolutely incredible, obviously. Fata got away with this for years. How on earth did they catch him?
They caught him because someone within Fata's office blew the whistle on him. And coming up tonight, all new at 11 o'clock, we're going to hear how a law actually signed by President Lincoln helped put an end to Fata's cruelty, and how anyone who has proof that government money is being wasted can file this lawsuit and possibly get a financial incentive in the process.